But when you only need a couple, it's a good way. Except it's repetitious, that's all, on your hands. I'll wait here with the rest of you. I'm looking forward to seeing what. Oh, good morning, Anne. Can you guys all see me yet? Can you hear me and see me? I don't know. Can you hear me and see me? Hopefully you can hear me and see me. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yay. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Okay. You guys can see me and hear me. This is a good thing. I never know with YouTube because it's out of my control. These camera controls are all theirs. So I look for the little green lights everywhere, but I trust you guys way more to say, yay, we see you. Or we can hear you, more importantly. I'm just making some coil worms and getting us set up. Hey, good morning, Sandra. Thank you. Loud and clear for Sandra. Good. And Carolyn and Celine. And this is awesome. There's a bunch of us already here early. You guys are early birds. I'm an early bird. Okay, so I'm making some coil worms here. And then I'm probably going to have to reload my spool. Ooh, got that a little tight, didn't we? There we go. And then I'll show us how to make these. Hopefully we'll get 3 whole pendants done today. Oh, 2 hours difference. How's your weather, Selene? I have some friends on the East Coast. I have family out there too. So you're like 9, 10, 11:42 over there. Ooh, I hope you got some lunch. Oh, New Hampshire. Hey, I think I have family that way. I do. I can never remember what city they live in. Anyway, my biologicals are out there. My biological father, he's out that way with all the rest of them. Woo! Kathy's in Long Island. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning. Nice. I also have a family friend in New York. Oh, thank you, Celine. Yeah, if I'm ever there. So, long story short, I just found my biological father 2015, May the 4th. And 2015 was our very first contact. And I'm in my 50s. So, it's a really funny story about me. I grew up thinking I was half Scottish and half my mom is Vietnamese. And then I did that DNA thing, like everybody does. And it came back and was like, no, this other guy's your dad. That's the short side of the story. But anyway, so I reached out to the cousin. Actually, it found her before, and then she pointed me to him. So anyway, we met. It's pretty neat. Okay. So they're all out there in the East Coast. And then my other family friend, Margot, she's in New York. So maybe sometime I'll get out to the East Coast. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, it's a pretty neat story, Carolyn. My whole life is kind of a little weird. It's a weird story, my life. I don't know. One of these days I'll write, what do they call the memoirs? But yeah, I grew up thinking I was Vietnamese and German. And then it turns out that no, I wasn't German at all and was fibbed to accidentally by my folks. And I grew up the rest of the way until recently, until 2015. I grew up thinking I was, the rest of the way thinking I was half Vietnamese and half Scottish. And then in 2015, I discovered I was half French. It's the freakiest thing you've ever seen. Hey, good morning, Dawn. Nice to see you. I'm early. We're all early. We're just chit-chatting. I'm making coil worms. Yeah, I've had like 5 versions of my name, Carolyn. It's weird. I have an identity crisis. This is why I'm an artist now. Like it's because in the world of art, it's quite fine to be just this way. That's what's so lovely about it. You can be completely eccentric and people just go, "Oh, she's just a lovely artist." Okay. If you're eccentric in like the world I came from, which was some little bit of computer world, then they just call you unstable. Good morning, Linda. Hey, look at this crowd we got. I'm early. We're all early making coil worms. If you missed it, you just walked in. It's because I might show you how to do this little guy here, this add-on. I put the balls on the ends instead of the big coil. Anyway, we'll see what we get. We're going to try to do 3 of them. And then other than that, I was just telling stories. It should be in all versions of the world. Yes, the world of art is a forgiving one. And a lovely one. That's why we're all here and happy and together and creative, right? I can't lie though, I like the sciences too. I like sciences and weird stuff like ancient math, and I do a lot of weird math. So I like all that stuff too. And I love the technology, I'm not gonna lie. That's still in my blood too. So I play with AI a little bit on my sparest of spare times. Okay. Some fun facts about teacher while she's coiling. I'm a Tesla lover, not Tesla cars. Yes, very. The art world is very very accepting of who we are. Yeah. And how we are, more importantly, right? That's why we forgive each other. Okay, so all I'm doing is making coil worms. I got 20 gauge and I'm coiling 28 gauge on it just to make a worm. So I'll snip it off and then I'll take my core out. You can't sometimes just pull on these things. They get a little sticky. Ooh, I'm a little shaky. I might have to get a banana. What is that? I got 10 minutes. I might have to go get a banana and eat something. I feel shaky. So there's my worm. So then I have it later when we want to do something like that, maybe. Okay, so I'm going to exit the room for 10 seconds here, and I'm going to get a banana because all of a sudden I feel like I need one. Hey, babe, I need a banana. I don't know how I forget in the morning sometimes to eat stuff. I don't know what happens to me. Okay, I got cheese, everybody. Woo! Oh, nice. Okay, I'm catching up on reading here. Celine loves Tesla too. Yep, I follow Mr. Grant, Polymath. Yep. Little secret about me, I follow them all. I watch them very closely. I don't actually watch them very closely. Excuse me while I eat my cheese and get ready so I don't pass out. No, I play that kind of math too, just in secret. I haven't published anything yet. It's a long story. Don't get me started here. Jewelry world's a whole different brain, but kind of. Good morning, Bill. Woo, Bill's here. Yay, look at this crowd we got, you guys. You walked in on time, Bill. I happen to be eating a piece of cheese because I forgot to eat this morning. I'm setting up my worms. Hey, Celine, do you follow a guy named Alan Green, the Bard Code? He's pretty fun. I like him a lot. Humanities girl here. All right. Oh, yeah, check him out. He's all kinds of fun. It's called the Bard Code, Code. He's fun. They're all buddies. You'll see them. They're all linked together. One of these days, hopefully, that you'll see me amongst them, but not today. Today, I am still a jeweler and will be forever. So I'm going to make another coil worm just because we got a few minutes left and I need another one. And then we're going to start. So I don't know who all of you are weaving today with me, but we made our strips yesterday. And then today we're going to assemble them. And I got 3 that I'm going to do, or try to. Try to. The crowd's getting big. It's making me nervous. But I love it. It's a good nervous. It's an artist kind of nervous. It's like a theatrical kind of nervous. Getting ready to go on stage, you know. So I'm coiling Celine on 20 gauge base, and this is 28 gauge. It's your weaving wire. And you can set up these coil worms on anything. This is just kind of a good, good middle road size, but you can go bigger, you can go smaller. Depends on what you want to do. But this is my go-to size for a lot of stuff. And I use these wires too because I've guided you guys for a few months into certain gauges. So I don't want to just keep throwing new wire at you. I want to utilize the wire that I know you already have, or that a lot of you already have on hand. So this is a lot of the reasoning behind the gauges that I use. Just so you know. But you can use any gauge. But these are always good gauges. They go big, they go small. You know. So like I said in the beginning, for those of you who just walked in, if I were going to make a ton of these, I'd be doing this on my drill like I showed us in some other ones, some other videos. But since I only need a couple, I'm just doing them by hand. And we're just chit-chatting. Happy Memorial Day, everybody. If there's any family barbecues going on, I appreciate that you're here with me instead. Okay, so let's see. We got 8 people. We got 9:53. So I got a couple minutes to finish this guy right here. Whew. So I've got some East Coasters in here. I'm from Colorado, Loveland. I know there's some Colorado folks in here. And then, ooh, look, I don't have enough coil. Just wasted my time. Oh, well, I'll just finish it out. And then I know we've got some from the South here. Do we have West Coasters here? I know we got some from Middle South. Let's see. I don't know if we have West Coasters. Probably too early. What time's it out there? It'd only be 8:54. Oregon. All right. Carolyn's over there. We have Jim's son is in Portland. So we got people there too. Okay. So that's how you make a coil worm. You slip it off. This one's just too short to do anything with, but there it was. All right. I'm going to get started, you guys. So welcome. Good morning. Have my cup of coffee. Oh, Michigan. Nice. Way up north. That's right. You said that yesterday, Dawn. Welcome back. Okay. I got my piece of cheese in me. All right. So good morning. So yesterday we made a bunch of our strips and I showed you a few new patterns. I don't know if several of you have run out and made some, but also yesterday I showed you guys how to do the back loops so that you don't have to, oh, nice. Linda's going to be in Michigan next month. I showed you the back loops so that you don't have to pierce your weave, even though in Atlas we learned to pierce it because we need to know how to do that too. But when you set these strips up, if you do the back loops, then you have something to tie on with. So I've made several patterns based on yesterday, and I'm just going to start one pendant at a time. Maybe I say this, but you know how I go. Sometimes it gets nuts. And then also, I promised somebody yesterday that we would insert a cabochon gemstone, a little accent. So I got some of those out so that I won't forget. Put those up there. Those are little amethysts. And I think the first thing I'm going to do, I've got my frames and I've got some weaves ready. And I've made all of my weaves about the size of my frames. That gives me some room if I need to add on or pull some off. It's easy to do. And I've chosen my stones for my frames. So the first thing I'm going to do with this one, there's two ways you can approach it. We can try to add it, onto the frame first and hold the stone in, or you can put your strips on. So this one, we'll just put our strip on first, and use the stone for guidance. So up here, I've made a short bail on this frame. If any of you need to see framing, let me know. But I think I've shown that enough in the past. Is why we're jumping straight to pre-made frames, and I showed one quickly yesterday. So I'm here at the top of my frame, and there's two ways I can roll. I can take weave over the frame, or I can take bare wire. It depends on what you want to do, and then I can attach and shape down and attach to these big wires. So I think for this one, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it bare on top. Ooh, I don't want to lose my little prong there. So I'm going to get my round nose plier, and I'm just going to get a nice skinny bend on it, but I'm going to do it up here about a half an inch above my weave. And I'll just turn down some wire. And since I'm going to attach, to this right-hand section of the frame, I'm just going to start these wires kind of slanting to the right. I'll just get a slight bend on my frame going to the left. I could make these different sizes if I want to. I'm going to snip this little guy off. He's bugging me. Okay, I've already lost my cutters, and I just walked in here. What goes on? I have elves. Okay, let me just get rid of this one. Cutting it to the back of the frame as much as you can there. I don't worry about those little bits too much. They tack down. All right. So when I make my frames, I leave this long half round on, right? A piece of half round, this is probably too long, but you can leave like 4 or 5 inches here so that when, you attach these strips, you have something additional that you can strap on with, you could tie it on with. So I've got my little hook. I'm going to come and look for placement. I'm going to go about right here and just start my weave at the beginning of my neck. You can do yours, way up here too if you want to. I might decide to go up here actually a little bit taller. And then one at a time, we need to wrap these around the main frame. So there's a couple of ways to do this. I've shown that in a couple of videos, but here I'll just get the curve started and stick my wires in there. I think I want these above because that's going to be a false bail right there. So I'm going to push these a little higher just because that's the way I want them. And one at a time, it's a little tricky hold until you get these bent up, right? So one at a time, in a row, in order, so that it's nice and clean. Just bend them up. Get them attached to your frame. Just hold it all steady Betty right there. Go one wire at a time. It's going to be easier on you. But if you're strong, you can go all three. I just like to get them bent. I'm going to cut and attach right there. So I'm going to cut them short. Well, before you cut them, leave them there for some leverage. I forget that I tell you guys to do this. We'll cinch them up in a little bit. So you have that little bit there, it'll help you with some leverage. So just hang on to it. Ooh. Okay. And then you can start to shape this to your frame. We left these tie wires back here, right? So that you can tie on. So just with my finger, I'm going to start to shape this down my frame here. And I want to cross about down here. So I've got a good length on it. Before I get too much further, I'll go ahead and flip back around and use these and attach to my frame now. Ooh, it's a little squirrely. Let me get my other pliers here. So I like my bent nose. It's a good plier to have, right? If you're already wondering what this set is, it's called Xuron, Xuron. I am not an affiliate. I just, it's a good little plier to have. It's a good set. It's obtainable. It's not huge money. They're lightweight. So if you're looking for pliers, at the very least, if you don't have the set, you might want to get some bent nose, the 45-degree bent nose. Okay, so I tied on a couple. I'm going to leave this little squirrel on here instead of cutting it off in case I need them for more later, right? So I'll just continue over here and I'll attach over here too. So if this live stream goes really well, I might release it to the public for a little while, you guys. Just so you know, I've never released a live stream before, and I don't leave your membership videos out there. They're for, for my marketing purposes to try and get a new crowd in to grow my channel. So just so you know, if you see this, I might not, but if you see it out there, that's why. It'll just be temporary. So there's a good attachment. It was an easy attachment. I didn't have to take needles through my weave to get this here. And now that, I'm tied on, I'm just going to keep these under control and neat. I'm going to come up here and deal with these little guys. But before I do, you see how he's jiggling up here? I left on my half round on my neck wrap so that I could catch this. Go low so that you have room to grow up. As you go, if you need to add on more, just going to wrap it a couple of times here. I'm going to leave this on also for my use later. Okay, so that all looks pretty good. Now I'm going to get rid of these guys because I don't need them anymore. They're held in place, my strip here, so I've got, control and leverage on this. It won't jiggle around on me while I try to cinch it up. I'm going to cut these back with just enough to close neatly around that frame shoulder. And I'm going to get up here with some nice strong pliers. And I'm just going to push these back. Actually, let me get these back out here. Just work them the best you can, one at a time. Ooh, I'm shaking. Excuse me while I stick another piece of cheese in my mouth. Okay, so we have a nice tie. Forgive my eating, you guys. I'm so sorry. Hopefully it's not offending anybody. I will be more prepared next time. Okay. So that one's tied on. It's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put elegance up here into these little wires while I'm up here. Just turn them out a little bit. We can always adjust them. Yeah, Bill says I've had too much coffee. This is probably true. I should have taken the advice of one of you, as Mary maybe, told me have water over here. Okay, so I just turn them out a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to get rid of, before I turn this back, I'm going to get my other wire attached. And I'm just going to make a slight curve on this lower. Hey, good morning, Yvonne. Nice to see you. A slight curve on that to follow my frame. So I'll take my next strip. You don't have to be the same, right? But you can be. So I'm going to take this one. Let me cut this little guy off while I'm up here. And I've got my little ties ready. And I don't have to add it at the same distance. I could go higher just to make a little fancy. So even without my plier, I can just kind of guesstimate. This is about 3/4 of an inch, since my last one was about 1/2 an inch. I can just make a nice little bend. Get my wires kind of going out and ready. And if I decide I want to slope these rather than bend them all together, because this is now what I want to do, I'm going to make these two outside ones slightly shorter. Just to give it a little cascading effect. Okay, so you can bend them, individually as well. You don't have to go all the same. That's pretty good. Get a little pre-bend going on that matches your frame there. These three are going to come through this outside shoulder. And this one, I'm going to kind of go above the situation like this. Make my weaves meet here at the neck. But now I have a little raised, bail. Can I ask where you get your beautiful labs? Good morning, Pamela. Yes, Lindsay. Good morning, Lindsay. Ooh, how did you do that neat highlight? I so like that. I've never seen that. It's okay. Good morning, Marty. Good to see all of you guys. The labs I get, these, I'll be honest, some of them I find on Etsy when I see them flashing. Be real careful about, make sure it's a very reputable seller with lots of reviews and that they've been around for a while. I don't generally eat, no matter how flashy the stone is. I try to stay with reputable sellers when I buy online. But I do a lot of business with the Rock Show, the Colorado Mineral and Fossil Show. Oh, nice. You put the at thing before my thing. Oh, hi, Nancy. So I frequent the rock shows, the mineral and fossil shows. They come through a lot of towns. You probably have them in your town. And I know that our show goes here in Colorado twice a year. Not our show. I work for the lady. She's, God love her. I love her. My boss. She owns these shows. But in Colorado, there's twice a year, and then in Texas, we're twice a year, and then she's in Tucson also. So I frequent the shows, and I take these from, I pick these, I hand pick them because the flashy stones are kind of hard to pick online. So I like to see them in person, but you can also look up, if you guys don't know, most cities have a rock club, right? A mineral and fossil club or the local rock club. There are dealers in there. There are people who cut stones in there. They probably have connections to the rock show that comes into your town. So that's where, hunting the stones is kind of the favored part of the game. And so I get them from everywhere. You guys have seen these for a long time because I hoard them. I sell what I need to, but some of the ones, oh my gosh, like I just have a real hard time letting these particular stones that I've had here go. Sometimes I hold on to stuff for a long time, longer than I should. But that's also the part of being, a rock lover. And anyway, so here we go with the frame. So I've kind of got my weaves lined up. Let me focus here. I'm going to bend my wires up. I need a long run here, right, for this. So I'm going to try to bend them up carefully, one at a time here. Take them up. You see your frame slopes, so you got to kind of take them up one at a time. At least this frame slopes. Some frames don't. Depends on what you do. Let me get these wires all back on the bottom before I get too far along. It's a little squirrel. You got to manage your wires. I'm pushing my tie wires to the back before I lay this strip down. Ah, Pamela's got some labs for sale. My family swears I'm a stone hoarder, right? Aren't we all? Holy cannoli. So I don't know. It's amongst you guys if you want to do business with each other. But I have a few dealers that I love that frequent the show that I've known for years that also sell online. So I would trust them if I saw them online right away. Oop, see here I'm talking and I cinched these up and my weave's getting lower than I want it to. So I'm just going to back this out and focus for a second. You wonder why sometimes I can't talk and rap. So I'm going to take these all the way around to the back where I want them. Get this out of our vision here so you guys can see. Hopefully you can still follow what I'm doing here. I just added this strip. I'm going to put my straight wires down just so I got some leverage there. I'm going to get these tie wires under control so I can see myself. And I'm doing this in a camera too. And I'm trying to show you backwards too. So now I'm just going to shape my frame. You'll be doing this facing your frame. I'm trying to show you backwards just so you might see what I'm doing, tracing your frame like this. Okay, so just kind of trace the frame. You've got your back loops ready to go for a tie on. Woo! Come back up here and get it better. Get your loops up here sitting where you want them. I want them slightly higher before I tie on. It's a little squirrely, you guys, and I'm doing it in the air. It's good. It's good enough. It'll still be pretty. So I'm shaping my weave, and now I'm going to turn this whole thing over, and I'm going to tie onto my frame. Yeah, they are really pretty, these particular ones. They're all very pretty. Sometimes you get them and they're a little darker than you expect. I tend to like the very electric, bright ones. Sometimes they're gold, sometimes they're blue, red, purple. Not red. I can't say red because I think red is, if you see a red labradorite, if I'm thinking right, I think that's a treated one. It's heated or something, but they're spectacular. Oh, and it might be a red different stone I'm thinking of. It might not be lab. Ooh. Just tie this on. Once is good enough for me. I'm not going to try that again. Okay, so I've got these. While I'm up here, oh, they're dyed. Okay. Those are so pretty though. Somebody wrapped a square one the other day. Oh my gosh, my heart dropped out of my chest. It was so beautiful. Okay, so while I'm up here, I'm going to tie this up because that's the efficient way that I like to do it. There are reds in labs, but I'm correct. Or somebody's correct. They're either dyed or they're heated. So here I've taken that half round and I've cinched it up here at the neck with that new strip I just added on. Ooh, gonna pull it a little bit tight with my plier. I'm just gonna go one more time around and I'm gonna leave it on there because I have a couple of additional strips I want to come put on. So I'm gonna get my wires in order. Always fixing your wires so that you can see yourself. My tie wires are here. And now I'm going to get rid of my attachments here. And before I do, just gonna, you see that big loop I got right there, that shoulder loop? I can cinch it up either by, smashing on it, or I can open it up, one wire at a time here. Open it up slightly, pull, and lower it back down. Okay, so you can do it that way too. Sometimes the smashing doesn't work. So I'm just going to get these a little bit closer because now everything is tied on, so I've got leverage. So I can get a cleaner wrap there. Those are now laying down much closer. I take my nice Lindstrom cutter here, and I'm going to cut through one wire at a time. Anne says this style is so fun. She loves making the strips ahead of time. Seems like an elaborate piece. Yes, they're so pretty. That's why I love this technique, because you can change your mind literally mid go. You can make corrections mid go, and you don't, you got a lot of freedom with strips versus all attached frame. Okay, so we've got this guy on there. Just face him down. Ooh. Okay, I need a wider plier. Make sure you turn them down so that those, you don't feel that, right? If you don't leave enough there, then you can't turn them down. Make sure you get a little file on them if you feel them. Okay, so that's that. I want this a little bit lower so that I can turn out some little cutie stuff. If you tie too high, you don't have so much room to turn these out into cuteness. Okay, just a little bit. Little bit goes a long way. I thought I was over an hour late watching the Frames video. Oh, sweetie. Frames was yesterday. Oh, we're all here. This is all recorded, so nobody misses anything. And then I have, space even yet to bring some more stuff over. Always, when you're fiddling up here at the neck, you want to make sure that no matter what you do, you leave some type of space either through here for your chain, or if you're going to take two more over, go tall enough that you can get chain so you can have a 2-layer option for your chain. I love how you show us how to manage the wire. Just usually mash the wire or smash the wire while attaching, but raising them up and settling them down. Yeah, it's all these little weird things we learn, we figure out along the way. I used to weave like a crazy woman with just long wire everywhere, and it was such an investment and no room for mistakes. So I've kind of married both sides of my brain and decided I would take some of my other world into this world, and it works out better. The construction methods benefit from it. Okay, so anyway, we have 2 nice strips attached. Let me get my stone up here. Woo, that's gonna be pretty. And you see, I'm a little bit over because the strips go into my frame, but you kind of want that because it needs to be a little pocket. So you just open up your little pocket here, right? Just turn them out slightly. And then your stone should fit very lovingly right in there. And we still got space, for second strips. And we still also have, the option to kind of just push them in a little bit if you need to. So that's going to be so pretty. Oh my goodness. All right. So with these down here, while, the stone is here, I'll just show you. I'm going to crisscross these two right here to make a nice bottom bit for my stone. Don't flip that over while your stone's on there because those break. And so I'll start with what's on top here. I'm going to hold this all steady Betty and real tight right here. And then just back bend it over on itself. And take your wires slightly out here to the outside. Okay, so that's the back one. So now this one, you can do these in a lot of ways. Just going to go right here and back bend it back onto itself nice and neat. I'm going to get rid of this little guy. I don't need him. So don't be afraid when you get to the place where you're like, okay, no, I don't need that little tie. Snip them out because it just gets confusing. So I have my main ties still in place, ready to go, all 5 of them. And then I've just flipped these 2 back onto themselves. So now I get my nylon jaw and give a very loving and controlled pressure squeeze, but nothing so drastic that my pliers slips. Okay, just like that, nice and cinched up. Got plenty of wire for design. If you don't want those, you snip them out and you got clean spaces to tuck them right into that crevice and right into that crevice, okay? So, but of course we'll make more. We'll do more. Okay, so I'll just keep these kind of pushed back. Sometimes they want to slide forward. All right, so there's that one. Woo, woo, eat a piece of cheese. So now I'll get the next one. I pushed all my strips up here. Let me find them. Look what I did. Tons of them. So I've got, 3 base wire strips on here, right? My big strips. I like to go with smaller strips, 2 base wire strips on the inside. You can do whichever ones you want. And for the spiked strips, Woo. I think I was planning to use these as my 3-wire on the other one. Here's the one I want to show for an example for the spiked strips, not these two. If you're going to do what we call a spiked strip, remember this weave from Atlas? I've got this weave ready. It's 3 base wires. But to get the spike, you can remove the top base wire. Carefully pull it out. And then you have your spikes. Not all weaves can do that. This one you cannot pull strips out of. This one you can, and Space Invaders from yesterday. You can pull the top one out of that one. It'll slide. But these 1/1s where you tie them individually in, you can't do that, so don't make yourself miserable trying. If you want a more spiky strip, you can pull the second one out too, and we've seen this technique. You see now you get a little more of a spike on it. Okay, so you can add this one too if you want, or you add yours. If I need these two, I didn't leave tie wires on this one because I was just making an example. But if I wanted to tie them on, I have this little bit in the front. I'm actually going to use another piece, but this one I'm showing for example, so I don't ruin, so I don't have to sit here and madly weave more strips because I ruined them to make an example. And you just form it. But it makes a nice accent on top of the weave you got, right? You see how we folded one over the other? If I do this, I've got an odd bend now if I want to go over it. You see, it gets bulky. So if I wanted this on this side, I would insert it, into here somehow or onto this side to get it down there rather than jump this. Or thank you, Nancy. Or I would use it on this side, the side that's on top, because then you have a nice flow to the back, just matching, the wire there. So that's a cleaner pass. I hope that makes sense. So so when you put these on, and it doesn't matter, you could still make a cutie anyway. It's going to be cute anyway. It doesn't matter. But to explain some things, so let me pick my strips out here. Do I not have 2 matching small ones? Did I just make everything? Made too many examples and let me find my strips. Hold on. Oops. This one and this one. So I'm going to use these 2. These are the same weave, just with 2 base wires. Pretty much the same weave though. I just like it. I don't have any tie-ons here, and I don't necessarily need it because I got 2 middle ones if I need to grab something, right? I might not need to do anything. I'm going to cut these ends off just because that's my way. The spiky one looks like much like that. You can make it into a bezel too. I showed you yesterday the prong frame. If you made these with 4 wires and made these a little bit longer, it could be a bezel wire. Probably not strong enough. You'd probably have to do more, but it could be a bezel. What'd be cute is that you string a little tiny one through the loops and cinch it up. Maybe I'll show you that one someday. So anyway, let's continue. Okay, we still have a little bit of motion here, so that's good. So now I'm going to add my second strip. And I'm going to kind of decide, how I want that. Since I let my weaves end right here, I might take this weave over the bail, right? So I don't need it to go all the way over the bail. I just need it enough that I have a little extra something pretty up here. So like this maybe. And I've got my tie wire right here. So it would help me right away since this is a center strip, to just grab it. And rather than keep going up, I could also go down if I ran out of space in here. You shouldn't run out of space if you give yourself enough space. But I'm just going to grab it this one time just so I got some leverage and leave it right there for a second. Woo, lots of wire on here now, people. Okay, so you'd be down here on your board, and I'm just going to get down here because my hands are starting to ache a little bit. And I'm going to press this, you want this loop. I intend for that to be my bail loop. So I have two bail lengths I'm going to give. So this is why this one is raised so much. And I'll just start to shape it to my frame a little bit. And I'm going to go right alongside my first strip, but slightly to the inside. Make it nice and elegant. Woo! And it's all squirrely until it all comes together. Woo! These strips are really elegant and fun to just, shape. They're easy. So you just work them carefully. Try to plan as you go carefully. I can, weave a little bit more, but I'm a little short. I don't care. I'm going to leave it. I am going to line it up right here. I'm going to take it to the back. I need a place to wrap this guy. So first I'm going to get them flipped back. Actually, I want a little bit more. I talk and I wrap and then I forget what I want. I want a little bit longer, so I'm just making it a little bit longer. And I actually want it to slide off a little bit right there. So hopefully you can see that. And back here now, before I let everything go, you can see that I can tie off to this one, right? I can tie into this one if I need to, or just cut back and tuck in there. Okay, so look, see where you're going first. You got a plan now. I don't know. I don't know if I want to take this over. I like that just the way it is. I got to make a different plan and I might not have to do anything. I might just be okay with it like that. I'm going to get it tied down here first. All right, so I'm sliding off a little bit right here. You could also go around these two. Ooh, there's a lot. Hold it all steady, Betty. I'm going to get rid of the length. These are the two that originate from the top. They're just long. I'm cutting them off to get them out of my way real quick. And I left enough to tie on though, okay? And I'll come down here, hold these two. To go over that might be bulky. I might be changing my mind. I might slip under there, okay? So sometimes you fold one over, but then what happens is that I actually want to be under that guy. So don't be afraid to do this. I've got control over all my wires at this intersection. I've lifted these up so that I can sneak these two down. And I can come back on top of them. So it's less bulky, right, by that choice. And you're boss of your wire. And so now it has a nice slope off my front. I've got a nice, little finish there. And I'll just take my nylon gel and get a little bit of a tap. Ooh, for pressure hardening to keep it all under control. Do I need to tie that one? I might, but I'm going to wait till the end because, like in Atlas, I might add things that, cure the need for a tie there. And I'm just going to put a little elegance into these guys. Curve them a little bit while I'm here. Okay. Make sure too we still got the pocket for the stone. You just open it up. And by now I think sometimes going back in, you got to fold these, back up. They tend to want to flap inward, okay? So if that happens to you, it's okay. You just get boss of it. Get a plier and turn them back into cup position, okay? Or you get your little fingernail in there, open up a little space, turn them back. Hopefully you can see what's going on here. Okay, so kind of more like that. So it's kind of cupping your stone. So that's a nice lay. My stone fits in there. I'm going to push it over to the left. I've got to snap it in over here to the right. So I've got to open up this little bit. And now I'm going to work with my stone in because it's getting tight, right? Okay. Ooh, be easier if I could be down here, y'all. Okay, so I'm happy with what's going on here. So I'm going to make decisions now about some of these wires. I don't need all of them. It's going to be way too much for design. So these are my two longest ones that I just gave from this little 2-strip here. So I'm going to keep those. I'm going to terminate the inside ones and just tuck them real clean right in there. I know I could have decided to do that prior, make my cutting and tucking easier, but this is how your twisted teacher rolls. So I just snipped them off one at a time. I'm going to take these and I'm going to bend them into a nice downward curve, nice and sharp downward curve. Nothing is visible from the front of my pendant, so I'm good there. And then I'm just going to delicately, try to tuck them in slightly. It doesn't need to be huge because we got other stuff going on, but those tips you can bury right there. And then no muss, no fuss. They're gone. They're not seen, and you got a nice edge on your stone. Okay. Still loose, so don't count on everything to hold your rock yet. Okay, so now I'm going to do the second strip. Hopefully, if you guys are wrapping with me, now is a good time. I've been holding all of this up here in the air. You should have been down here more comfortable on your board, right? So I'm going to take a stretch on my fingers here for a second, and hopefully it's not rude, but I'm going to pop a knuckle or two. Woo, because my hand's getting numb. Okay, get back to this. So these two here, I'm going to use them, in the front here for some design later on. So I'll just leave them right there. Let me just slightly tighten them. Nice slope. Okay. All right, so let's get our other guy on. See, it sank a little bit, but that's okay. I still got room for my bail here. Never worry. Just always do what you do. Make adjustments on the fly. All right. People still with? Ooh, there's 11 of us in here. I see 11, maybe more. I don't know. You guys come and go. All right, so here's my second strip. I'm going to sacrifice some of the weave to the top. Take it straight over. Ooh, I didn't do anything with these two yet. Ooh, before I add that strip, I got to do something here with these two. And for right now, I don't have a place to do anything with them. I don't want them to interfere. So I think for me, I'm going to just part them and park them for a second. Right here in the middle. Am I wrong? Don't you sometimes use hand gloves? Yeah, I do. So let me go get them actually. You guys take 10 seconds, rest, stretch your hands, and I'll show you the compression gloves because those are important. At least for some of us, it's important. All right, I found them. These are also the same gloves that I work out in. I have a few pair, but let me put them on and then you can see it. So I play lightsabers. Your teacher is a Jedi Knight. And I would use these gloves for wire work, but I also use them to work out. So I am not an affiliate, but they're copper compression. Probably order them online anywhere, and they actually do help a little bit. When my hands are achy, they actually help quite a bit. So those are the gloves. If you want to get a pair, mine are size small. They come, I think, small, medium, large. Mine are size small. So that's what they are, and sometimes I do use them. I feel like when there's too much stuff going on, the camera gets disturbed. So this is why I haven't had them on. You're welcome. Okay, so let's go to a second. Oh, what were we doing? Oh, yeah. I'm just going to part these, actually not part them, park them over here to the side for a second until I drop this, other strip over the top. I want my length back. I want my length back, so I just tried to pull it a little bit more. Okay, I'll be happy. I'll stop fiddling. Okay, so here goes my second one. I'm just going to cut this off because I don't need it. And I'm just going to get a little pre-bend going on it. It's going to go into place right about here. Hey, good morning, Sherry. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. And I'm just going to shape it a little bit to see if I actually dig that. It's okay. I think I do because I'll pull these out into some more decoration or something. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Okay. So once I make that decision, again, I have my half round hanging out over here. So I'm going to take a quick grab on these top wires. Let me get it to this other side so it's ready. Do you guys have barbecue plans this weekend? I have barbecue plans. I think tomorrow. Some family barbecues. So I'll just go over the head of it a little bit. I'll get next to my other one here. Try to keep that as slim as we can. And I've got my half round to give me some leverage, so I'll just wrap it. couple of times here so that I can hang on to everything. Oh, no wonder it felt weird. Just broke. Oh well, at least I got one. Sometimes wire breaks. Don't panic. You just deal with it. Put on another one. Okay? And now I'm going to shape this. Excuse me while I get down here and shape my wire. So, you hold it here at the neck and just make elegance. Small moves. Wings and things. Ooh, that's awesome. I love wings. I'm just using the side of my stone here to make that nice curve. Hmm. I think with this one, I'm going to dive inside. Okay. So I'll show you how to, because they don't all have to go down here. Sometimes if you do that, it gets a little bit bulky. So you can make plans to um, do other types of attachments too. So just like in all other pendants, I'll pull it out a little bit with all kinds of control. I'll get a bend on these bottom wires enough that I can dive through my frame. I have a choice to go through and catch these inner wires or catch the outer one. I'm just going to take it to the inside first. And I like that. It gets me nice and close and snug into my stone here. So I feel like that's a good move. And I'll just hold everything steady Betty and do a nice back bend right there and get that landed. And that adds an extra little something, something, right? If I decide I like that better than this, I can still change this and do the same thing and approach it from the other side. And I do like that better. So I, on the fly, am going to change my mind. You guys can leave your wire where it is, or you can change your mind as well. I think I'm going to change my mind. Can I still change my mind? And I can, because I'm still, able to lift this weave so that I can get the two wires that I'm interested in, put my weave back down. I know I'm showing you guys a lot of changes, but sometimes that's what goes on. And now I'm going to dive in there, cut this a little shorter so I don't have so much of it, and then take it back and get it right there on the, bottom ridge of your stone. So that feels more secure than a long run that I did. And it gives me, some cute interest that I like better. So this is the good thing about these strips. You can do yours according to you. I'm very much in love with that. So now I'll make some pretty up here and start to cinch it all up. So I'm going to get up here with my plier, just get a nice little elegance going on here. Some of that. Small moves. Going to Lakeport. Oh, fun for rock hunting and picnic. Sherry, rock hunting. That is so fun. I envy that. That'll be a great weekend. Okay, so hopefully you see what's going on here with the stone. I'm gonna have to attach another wire here because mine broke. So I'm gonna do that right now because it's wobbly up here. It's making me nervous. I'm going to address the one that broke though, because it's just flopping over here. So sometimes when things break, you get lucky and they break in a nice place. But sometimes when the wire breaks, it breaks in a place that is not stable. So, you know, you got to deal with it, right? So going in and around was too much. I took it out. Really, all I need is to grab this guy. I'll use the, you know, just shorten it up here, and I'll get just these two so that I can hold on to them, and I'll come over here and maybe sneak it in around this guy before it gets too much more brittle. I go through these weird little pains because if you don't, then it's just living out here in the ozone. Potentially, it comes loose, and that's just never groovy. So I wrapped it around this one, pulled it too tight, and it broke right in there, but that's good because it isn't going anywhere. And I'll add another one later. I did pop my stone out after all that too. Okay, so there's that. Stone is still loose, remember. And we'll deal with these little wires in the back here because we have these two, so I still got to deal with these two. Today, I'm learning how to cut my own cabochons at a local rock and mineral society that I'm a member of. $10 class members. That's the rock club I'm talking about. I used to teach for 2 rock clubs. They have them in every city. And see, Cheryl belongs to her local mineral society, and they're teaching her how to cut rocks. The club I belong to in the spring and May, they start taking people digging. You can sign up for guided dig, right? So they'll take you up to mines and stuff, and the whole group goes and we dig for rocks. Could not be a better time. All right, so I've made good decisions. I'm going to get rid of these two and cinch these back. I'm going to cut with just enough room to get a nice locking wrap around that post. See, and these are fun because really the hard work of the weaving is done. You can like sit and chit chat and decide what you're going to do here with your strips and change your mind and all kinds of stuff. Make sure you got a nice clean wrap on that. Take off any weirdness that you see if you have any little stragglies going on. Make sure it's a nice tight enough lock. More wires going over the stone, so don't expect it yet to feel stable. It's in there and it wants to be in there, but it's not locked in there yet. It's still loosey-goosey and I can pop it out the front. Okay, so nice clean locks, nice clean back, nice clean front. Put your pendant down and settle it. Don't push too hard on your stone. These can break, so don't do that with any kind of force. If you feel like you're unstable, you know, pop the little guy out, set it down, use the back end of your rubber plier, get your wires laid down, pop your stone back in, and organize your wires up. Scooch these a little more into the neck there. So hopefully you guys are here with me. We're got another wire to go here. So I still pop out the front. I think what I'm going to do is add some half round strips, some half round to the whole thing. Actually, before I do, this isn't going to be enough to hold this belly in. This is a pretty big stone. So I am going to add, I'm going to try to add some half round strips right here too. Or you can do a curly wire, right? You can do a curly wire on it as well. And I'll show you what I mean by that. If I don't like it, I'll take it off. So let me do wire choosing here. Give me a second. I'm going to get some, where's my 18 gauge half round? I think I'm going to go there first. Okay, I got some 18 gauge half round. So what I'm going to add next, if you guys are, the stone feels still unstable. I'm going to put some half round strips. Tie it on a little better. I'm using 18 gauge half round wire. It's a nice substantial size half round. Flat on one side and domed on the other side. I've got two 6-inch strips here. We could have done this first, but like an atlas, I like to make things a little hard. So I need to slip through here. I'm going to take the first couple inches. Flat side is to the inside of this bend. I'm going to find a nice place right up here in the top to slip in. And if I cannot, you might have to move those little wires that we left in the back there. You just snuggle in through them. Otherwise, it'd be a clear shot. So right here at the tip of your stone, just off to the right-hand side slightly, hold it right there. And then take your half round and spin it out so that the flat side's looking at you. And now we can tie off with this half round. Conveniently, it's here, and I might use it to grab these stray wires that I've got back here. So I'm just going to do that. But otherwise, you just find a nice area of your shoulder right here. It's a little squirrely until you get it wrapped. I'm going to go around my center wires. If you don't have center wires, you can go around your shoulder right here. Just hold it in the front. Hold your stone. It's a big half round, so you might have to use a plier to get it. I'm just going to take that one cinch. It's big, so it doesn't need to go around 3 and 5 times, okay? Just get one nice big one nice secure wrap. Where's my cutter? Oh, the elves have taken the cutter. Okay, here we go. I'm going to cut it right there with a couple of millimeter to spare so that I can turn this edge. Get a wider plier. Tap it down nice and secure right there. So now you've got a nice tie. We're going to do more with it, and then here in the front you have your half round started right here at the peak of your stone. Just keep the flat side against the stone and just use your finger, the pad of your thumb here, trail the body of your stone. Just like that. And right here, we're going to dive in right next to this guy. We're just going to follow him right in there. So I'm going to complete this nice turn. And I'm going to lift him out slightly, get a long bend on this end, dive through my space, guide him back in there, nice and flat on my stone, and then pull him off to the side so that the flat side is looking at you. And that gets your half round going in the right way. Okay, so we've got a nice additional little ledge to our stone here. That makes me feel a little more secure. Make sure it lays down really nice, and then come back here. You can get rid of it in the same spot right there. If you feel like you got to go around that thing once, you can do that. Hold it right here. Make sure you got a little bit of a gap. Keep the flat side against the stone. I'd actually go shorter because this is thick. Take it right underneath that. Keep everything tight and go back and forth to tighten them up. Don't just pull. It doesn't work. Okay? Before you cut anything, check your front. Make sure it's got your edge. It does. Happy with all that? We're going to do something more up here. I do not like the way that's going on. We're going to do something there. Okay, so that's that one. I'm happy with the way it lays, so now I am going to trim this out. You guys all still breathing out there? Cut it with a couple of millimeter. Get my plier on it. Turn that tip down. Get on top of it and do pinch, pinch. Nice, clean. Nice and clean. I might have to go another layer. This stone is so thick. I still have this. I might have to go another layer. I don't know yet. Might do more. We'll see. We'll see how she goes. All right. So we got that one. Let's get another one on there. We're going to bring these wires up and do, belly cuteness. But before we do all that, we want to get the other half round on. I like to do the half round kind of after the fact. It's easier for me, but if it's easier for you to do this half round before you start wrapping, you can do that. I showed us in Atlas how to do it this way, and I showed us in Mott how to put these on first. So you have each way. Okay, so up here, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to try to sneak back just real carefully. Look for air pockets that you can get through. Don't force anything. There should be a space there. Just whittle in between those wires that we left. Come all the way down to the tip of your stone. Position it carefully. When you get it laid on your stone, get back here and turn it so that the flat side of the half round is looking at you in the front. And that gets that going in the right direction. And then you can just keep a hold of this until you wrap this guy up. So again, with this, I'm looking for a place to terminate it. I can go right around this shoulder, or I can use him if I needed to cinch up and tighten up anything more here at the neck. I don't need to do anything. Ooh. So I'm going to cut him so that there's not so much to handle. Take it back, turn it, keeping the flat side. Ooh. Against the frame. Pull and jiggle, but don't just pull. Okay, until it cinches up. Okay. And then I'm going to snip it with a millimeter or so to spare. Turn it under and tuck it in there. Woo! Take a breath, everybody. Come back out to the front. Nothing adjusted too much. I'll put a ball in there if it's a little bit too low. It's not a big deal. I can also raise it slightly. Lay it back down against my stone. Make sure it's a nice flat lay. Just hold it with your fingers here and get the curve. This is a really thick stone. I'm going to have to go over the belly a little bit. And then right about there is where you want it to dive in. So bend the end long. Come through there, guide it back through. Make sure that it's serving some function for you on the belly of the stone. Hold it there and then pull it back. Better to go more above the stone than not enough, because you can always jiggle carefully. That looks good. And then back here, get your finger on the hold right there. I can get rid of this guy by making sure I'm nice and flush. I can cut and come around there. I hope everybody's still breathing. I like to turn my rock so that I got good leverage on my wire and I'm not contorting my body too much. You always keep your finger right there so that it doesn't move while you're manipulating this little end bit. Okay, take it over the rail, the frame, I mean. Turn that little bit down and close it up right there. Look at the front. It closed up slightly. That's okay. Fingernails, that's what thumbnails are good for. Small moves. Small moves. And then take your frame. So again, I'm going to take the edge of my frame, my weave, and I'm going to kind of cup it back up because it turns down. This is a particularly thick stone, so I might have to go with another layer of weave. I'm not going to in this episode because I think it'll actually stay with my halves. But sometimes that's what happens. Okay, so we're good there. We're tied up. We're tucked away pretty neatly. All of this feels pretty good. I'm going to get rid of these straggly wires while I'm here. I'm going to cut them neat with enough to turn back under that little spot right there. That breadth of a space. All you have to do is turn those little nubs down. Okay? So get them, don't just make a big glommy mess. Get them nice and in order and neatly turn them down. Get like 2 millimeter and neatly turn them down just up against the stone there so that they lay down and tucked. You've got another spare one over here. I don't know if you do, but don't forget, just turn and tuck that guy up. And that's pretty clean. For as much wire as we've got going on back there, that's decently clean on some of these. Okay, woo, woo, okay. I have these ties here that I'm still insecure to let go of, so I'm going to leave them there. So now let's make something pretty. We've got the stone in. We've got all of the mechanics in to hold the stone in place. It isn't going anywhere. We've got our weave going on well. I'm going to clean up this top a little bit. This thing's a little bit more wire up here, I think, than I normally do, but it's okay. Going to get a nice... So if you just make a curve right here in the middle, it looks a little bit less elegant. So you take the nice bend all the way to the top so that it looks more deliberate. And then these, since they're tucked back here and I have them, I'm just going to turn them out so that I can see them. You don't have to do any of this. I kind of like that a little bit. And I'm going to take these out a little bit. If I decide later I don't like them, I just put them back in there. Okay, it just gives me a little something more at the top. Maybe these are too many. There, just something more. I've got chain space. I've got chain space in 2 places, okay? So always preserve that. I might take something, this is bugging me right here. I might take something up there. We'll see what I do. Let's play with the bottom. So now we've got the stone in there. Let's make some design. Is everybody breathing? Just gonna push these back slightly. Good. Are you guys enjoying this design so far? Okay, so I'm gonna take these, my weave here from the bottom, these bare wires, I'm gonna bring them around to the front now. So I'll just get a nice, nice tight wrap there. Phew, good. And I'm just gonna flip them over here to the front. Just reposition them, make them cute, and flip them over to the front. And now we have these to do, cute business with. I could stick another stone in there, ooh, if I want to. Ooh, I gotta fix that a little bit. I'm gonna have to stick a ball or something up there, or I'll lower this other one. I got them a little bit off. It's okay. So I could stick another gemstone in there if I want to, or I could just, do some pretty business with the wires that I have. They're long enough that I can swoop over this way. I'm gonna leave my tie wires still living here. Point them to the back. And I have my thick wires that I can play with too still. So I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna swoop them over this way a little bit. I'm just using the belly of the stone and making soft turns. I really like that. The stone is very flashy, so I'm not going to put too much up there. I like this, so I'm going to leave those there for a second. And I'm going to see what I do with these two. They're kind of short. I left myself a little bit short, but that's okay. I can always add wire if I want to. So let's see how these go. I normally like to leave a little bit of a point down here. So let's see what I got, if I got enough. So I'm going to leave about 3 or 4, maybe 5 millimeter there. Brace on the back here. Turn up 90-degree. Turn straight up. Okay. So you've got that little bit. You can hold it right here at the bottom once you get it turned up. Push back while you push down. See, lay that down. Okay. We got this little bitty space right there. I think it's cute enough. So now I'll get it down here. Mine is short. Hopefully yours is not so short. Oh, good. I'm glad she loves the design. And I'm just going to make a little turnout. Hopefully yours isn't as short as mine. So I have this little bit. I can do a little something right there. I'm going to turn it out a little bit, make some grace. So do you see what I'm doing? Just turning that tip out to make some grace. Oh, good. I'm holding my breath too, everybody. I don't know how these things turn out sometimes. Whew. Okay. So I gave it just a little bit, right? I can curl this one, but before I do, I'm gonna bring this one up to see what else I got. I might have to pull these over slightly. We'll see. I don't know. My dog's you hear Jolene? She's out in the back having like some kind of barkathon with some others. I had to stop too. It's all recorded. It's all recorded. So this one, I'll take it up as well. I've got my cute point right there, so I'll make this one a little shorter. Straight up. Get a smaller plier if it doesn't fit in there. Grab the bottom, push the top. Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good. Everybody loves to do. Yep, my plan is to work on replay, lots of pausing. Yep, that's how you do it. Pause and replay. Okay, so I just turned the second one up a little bit shorter. Um, if you missed it, once you get the 90-degree turn up, get your plier on the back, push the front top down while you just do a slight tilt to the back. Helps to lay that down a little bit. And that adds a cute something. So I'll go to a thicker plier so I have leverage. Hold that bottom and just get your curve on it. Hopefully you got more wire than I do down here. I gave you guys 16 inches, so that should have left you with like 2 or 3 inches. Mine's a little short, but it's okay. It's still going to be beautiful. So we do our little turnout. Ooh. I'm going to get up here since mine is short, and I'm going to get on this, hold it right here at the bottom tip and just get a curve. This one too, I'm going to get more of a curve on it. Okay, I think I love those. I love them. Why not? Awesome. So I'm going to hammer these two out. I don't know if I'm going to do any back curl on it or not. I might just hammer them out flat. And if that's the case, I might just I'm going to put a little more bend on this guy. So I'm just little moves. I'm not even gripping it. I'm just using the wire as leverage to make a little curve. And then I'm going to take this top right here. You can curve yours if you want to. I'm holding my beautiful down here. And I'm just going to give a slight tilt back to the top with this. The pieces you are hammering out that you just curved up, they are from the frame. Yes. Yes, ma'am. That's correct. They're from the frame. They're from the very bottom of the frame. And I'll show you exactly what they were. These two. So this is my 16 gauge frame. We shaped our frame. We made our bail. We dropped the extended wire back. We made a little seat for our stone, brought them together and came down horizontally. These two wires are these thickest ones down here. They come from your base frame. So yes. Okay. That's why I like to do it this way, because then you've got nice thick wire. Thick wire is very hard to add on later. Thin wire is easy to add on later. Big beastie wire like this, it's hard. So I use it for the frame, and then I make sure to leave some so I can trail it back up for design. 16 aux square, that'll work. That'll totally work. Yeah, they're a little bit rougher, but you know what? Square works just as well in this. Don't be afraid of square. Square makes a really nice pendant too. Maybe I'll do one in square because it works just as well. I love 18 gauge square. So there I've got a nice little something something there that I like, and I'll hammer it out. So before I do anything else, I'm going to get these two big main focal pieces into focus for myself so I know what I'm doing. I'm going to protect all my other little stones here. Get my little beauties out of the way. I'm going to get my bench block. Here we go on here. And before you hammer anything, make sure you got the curve on it that you want, because it's easier to curve it now. Because after you hammer it, it's not as friendly to curve. So that's good. And so the hinge is here, right? Always right here where we made the first bend. And I'll take my inside one out first, I guess. So don't change your shape. Just pull it straight out 90 degree. Give a little brace right there. Sometimes we need our plier to help us get it back out to 90. Right here at the hinge. Hold on to everything. Just bend it straight up. So now it's out and available for you to hammer. While it's here, put your finger down here at the hinge and just slide it back some more. Didn't change any of its shape. We just pulled it out for hammering. The stone is in place, and they'll break, right? So keep keep the whole situation off the block. Okay, so I've got my finger here. I've got the tip on my finger, so none of this is actually even touching the block. And I'm just going to hammer right here to flare out the tip of this. I can contort myself and find my hammer. On my block in such a way that I can strike properly. You can hammer to your liking. I just hammered out the top, and remember we hammer to this side because this clean side is what goes back up on the stone, right? So I'll use my file and round that out. Ooh, that block is kind of heavy. Oh, I should have left it there because I got another one to hammer. Let me see what happened to my files. She doesn't know, she says. Here we go. I'll take these little edges off. You could have done this before. You see, I never let go of my stone. I don't care how many wires are over it, right? So don't let go of your stone. Or at least be on something where if you didn't quite get it cinched yet and it falls out, it ain't done until it's done. Okay, so you file that cute and round, sand that all off so it looks like satin. And then you get it back up. You hold this right here and you just bend it right back down into place. And sometimes you don't even need to hold that actually. Bend it right back down into place, and that's a beautiful hammer. Look, see, it's going to bubble up, right? Once we did that, because we took the hinge out. So you just hold on to stuff. I gotta get a narrower plier to get in here. I'm gonna grab the back. I'm gonna hold the top and the body down. I'm gonna do a slight back, just a little, not even to move it, but just to give it tension in the back. It helps to lay this, back down. We'll just position that nicely. I'm not going to fiddle too much until I get the other one. That's a nice channel for some bead balls, right? Some cute silver, copper beads in there. So now we'll pull this one right back here at the hinge. There's, no pressure from my plier, just enough to raise this. And then put your finger there. Don't change the shape, just pull it out so that you can reach it. Okie doke. Once again with the bench block here. Always with the protection of the stone in mind. You see the whole thing isn't even on the block. Okay, and now I'm gonna sand and hammer. Sand and file, or file and sand. And take these pointy edges off. Sand and file the underside of that because that comes back up against your stone. So you don't want to leave a shard back there. Okay, sand all of that till it's satin while it's out here. I think I need some hammering lessons. Sometimes the edges of my wire turn out slightly crooked. So yeah, you just hammer on a bunch of your scraps. I don't know what kind of hammer you got, Carolyn, but this is called a chasing hammer, you guys. It looks like a ball peen hammer, but it's not a ball peen hammer. Ball peen is a little flatter here and a little more narrow, and it still has the ball on the other side. This is chasing hammer, so it's bigger, just like this one. Okay, so when you strike, let's pretend the finger is the wire here. This hammer needs to hit with its belly, right? Do you see if my finger is the wire, when I hammer, it should come down like this, and then I can roll back onto its edge. This is a little curved, so when you strike, it's kind of like this rolling action. Strike with the center, and pull back so that you're telling the metal where to go. So hit with the middle. If you hit on its edge, like if you hit and you're tilted like this, you're gonna dink your metal and you're gonna leave a bunch of little things right there that you didn't expect, marks. So practice to hammer on on its belly and then roll it out to the curve as you pull back. Strike and tell the metal where to go. Strike and tell the metal where to go. So if you're not on its belly and you're hitting on its edge is probably, I don't know if that helps you, but maybe that helps you. You practice on a bunch of scrap pieces until you get it nice. And you can go to the side if striking and pulling back is not comfortable. Sometimes you strike and go sideways, like this way. Sometimes you see me turn the metal, and I'm just hitting with the belly. That helps. Now I know what I'm doing with a bunch of scrap wire, right? That's everything. Scrap wire is for hammering. Scrap wire is also for making your curly practice. So, everybody's like, how do you get that nice clean spiral? Well, I'm about 10 million pieces of scrap ahead of you guys. But this is what I do for practice, right? Or if you're not sure how something's going to turn out, you take all your little scraps and you make happy practice. Hammer all that out and then see how you feel. And then go bigger pieces too, because sometimes it behaves different. Okay, so back to this. I'll put my plier right back there on my hinge to give it stability. And I'll fold this thing right back down into place. Okay, should lay pretty nice for you. I'm not concerned yet with how it's laying because I'm not done. So see it, push it back up. That's all you got to do. And it lays down nice. That's pretty. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, good. I like it. I'll leave it. So I'm going to leave those two there. It's a nice channel for a couple of bead balls in there. It'd be super cute, wouldn't it? And now we'll deal with these little bits, and then we'll see if we need more decoration up in here. Maybe one something right here because I don't like the way it jiggles. Okay, so this inside one, obvious, nice little curl right there would be nice. So I'm going to snip it, give myself, that's about 3/4 of an inch here. It's not tied down yet either, so I can hammer it too if I want to. I'm going to get up here with my round nose on it, on the tip of it. Let me see if I can get closer to the camera and still do this so that you can see. Hold on to the curve to give yourself some leverage. Get a nice turn going on. Position yourself so that you can see where you're going. And get a nice little curl in there until you love it. Maybe I go a little deeper. This one, do we want to do another little curl? Not necessarily. I could just dive this one to the back if I wanted to. Just make it more like that so that there's not too much curly action going on. Same with this one. If I want to take a top curl or curl up towards the top, I'd probably do something like this, get close to this other one, hold it right there, and then get a nice gentle back bend going on. And then you can land a little curl right there if you want to, and you can tie it all up. I'm not going to do that. I'm probably just going to head to the back side, to the dark side here. Turn my wire back this direction, but now I have a nice little upslope on it, which is cute. And, I might use it to help cinch this whole frame sandwich together, right? But before I do that, if I intend to hammer any of this, you're not going to tie back yet. So, plus I still have my little strings back here to help me, my little wormhole strings, my weave strings to help me tie on. So I'll just keep those under control. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim with enough that I can curl back, but I'm going to pull these forward and hammer them first. So right here, I'm just going to give myself about a 1/2 inch. That's enough to comfortably turn right into that situation. So I'm going to hammer the spiral first, and I don't have to hammer them all. I might just hammer the spiral right here at the hinge, right here at the base. Gently peel it up like an orange. Peel it forward. Don't change its shape, just so you can get to it. Get the bench block out. Here goes my favorite small hammer. I show this one all the time. It's a riveting hammer. It's not made for this. This is very difficult to hammer with without denting your metal, but it's worth practicing with because it allows you to get into very tight, small spaces. I'm up against my stone. This a real tiny little bit. So to get this big fat hammer in here, you see, I can potentially collide with my situation. So here I can just tink, 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 and it doesn't take much to get this 20 gauge. Hits straight on its belly, straight up and down. Makes you feel like Santa Claus's little elves. And not randomly. I want, I'm trying to get the curve up here to fan out. So make sure you're focused on what you want. Could I do this as an add-on piece, hammer, and, make ready a little curl for myself there? Sure. But it's here already, so why not just learn how to pull it out? Sand and file and sand, and then lay it right back down where it belongs. Make sure that the head is down. We'll have to tie it up a little bit, but that's okay. We're not done. And that's super cute. So it gives me a little texture right there. I'll bring it in a little more sexy. So out here, it's not so sexy, right? That's just kind of, but in here, bring it a little more sexy. That's grace right there. And I like that. I love it actually. So I'm not gonna hammer these two out. I'm just gonna fold them back. But if I wanted to, same thing. Pull them out, focus on just the bit you want to hammer, put them back. So I'll get rid of my block. I'm gonna start with the bottom one. It's in position, so I've got my thumb on it. I'm gonna just bend that back. I'm gonna take a closer snip so that I can turn it down. I might have to go smaller. Where's my bent nose? There's a nice convenient little space that's right there, right in your frame sandwich. Don't get it too long because then you can't curl it back. You see what I just did? And you can hook it right there. Okay, I might have to cut mine a little shorter. Hold your next one in place, lay it down. Take the snip. Get your bent nose. Turn that little tip down, all the way down, and inside. Get on top of it and squeeze it in. Close it up. Nice and neat, pretty. And we just cinched up this whole sandwich here. You see, none of this is going to shift as much. Plus we had it tied down. Plus I still have these guys. So if I feel like I'm insecure about how tight these two are, I can take this and I can, do a few wraps and catch that guy, right? And just make sure it's cinched down. I leave everything on for security it's like security blanket until I'm ready. So those are my 4 extra wires that are still here. The back of this pendant is quite clean for as much wire as we've got on here. And the front is quite elegant. And now I can just, do more pretty stuff. The only little piece I got of that I question is right here. And I'm probably going to dive a bead or something in there so that I feel a little more secure. We'll tie some bead balls onto here too. So if you're done with your tie wires here, you can cut yours off. I don't do mine until the very end of the day. So I'm going to get some, I think what I'm going to do is get some bead balls and we'll channel some bead balls in there. You know, you could tie more wire in there if you want to, but I'm not gonna. So I'll get my little bucket of beads out. Kind of looks like this, right? You can do something like that there, or just put 2 or 3. If you don't want to put any and you just want to marry these up a little bit, just, you know, kiss them up a little bit. With your fingers, you can do everything. Just like that, a little more elegant, a little closer together, that it's all laying down. I like that. Might just do a couple of little ones in there. And then, you know, while you're here, you can cinch up right here. So before I start tying all kinds of wire on, I look at this. I need a stitch or 2 right here to catch this spiral, otherwise she can lift out. So, you know, do I do an extra wire there? Or if I know I'm going to do bead balls up here, I'm just going to make sure to grab her while I'm here with the bead ball. So I don't have to do an extra wire. And I'm going to use, I think, some 24 gauge round. You could use your 28 gauge. You can use 26 gauge. You can use 22 gauge. I'm going to use 24 gauge just for something different. It's just a little bit thicker than the 26 gauge. You can use anything to do this with that fits inside your beads. And I'm going to take about 8 inches of this wire. It's probably too many, but that's okay. Okay, so I've got 8 inches. And I'm going to plan my situation before I start tying anything anywhere. Okay. So where's my bucket of little beads? The beads I like to use, they graduate in size. I actually have them from like 1 millimeter all the way up to 4 and 5 millimeter. But you can do whatever you want with them. Yours. You don't have to graduate them in size. I'm looking for another bag of beads I want to show you that I thought was right here. Hello. Where's my bag of beads? They're left right here. Here we go. These are hematite beads. They look like they're copper, but they're hematite, some of them. Some of them are copper. But you see the little faceted ones? Those are kind of fun too. So when you're searching online for copper colored beads, you don't have to just go metal. Hematite makes a whole line of metal sheen beads that are pretty fun. So I'm going to pick some out of here. Let me just grab some. Plus, I have some copper ones in there. I don't know if I have all the graduating sizes. So let me see what I got. And then you pick yours out, or not. You don't have to pick any if you don't want to. And get that one. And I'll get this one. Okay. I'll keep my little bucket here convenient with them in the lid. The ones I'm going to use. Mine are probably going to be different because I don't have all the same bead, but it's okay. You can do yours all the same. So there I have some beads that I want to use. Let me get a few more just in case. Let me see. So beautiful. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Yvonne. And I've got my 24 gauge wire here. So I have a space that goes from small to bigger. I don't have to fill the whole space. I can just do 2 or 3 right here. And that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm just going to land them on my wire first to see how I want them. So I'll put, this is, I think, a 3 millimeter. Do I not have a 2 millimeter? Maybe. It might be a different bead. It's a different one. Let's see. That's a different one. That's okay. I think you get the idea. And then I'll put a bigger one on. I'll kind of just see what I like first on this stack right here and then make my decisions. So there's 3 and in my case 4 millimeter. I do have a 5 millimeter, might be too big. Ooh. So there's my little stack. You know, do I like them right there? I do. Might I need a little more space between these 2 wires? I do. Okay. So I'm just gonna part them a little bit right there. No drastic moves, just a little bit, because I want to see the hammering that I did. And now they lay in there quite nice, and I love that. So the next plan is where to tie everything off. So I can take, make decisions. What you don't want to do is run the wire so the last ball is there where I want it. You don't want to leave this bare wire and think that it's going to work this way. In time, it could slip. These 2 wires are actually tight enough that it probably won't slip. But I'm going to try to dive this wire. You see that space right there? I'm going to try to dive the end of this wire through there to tie off to the back. Come up through the back and maybe cinch this up too. So there's my plan for the balls. I got the 3. I know the length that I need. I got extra. I'm not going to work with the balls on here because obviously they fall off. You drive yourself crazy. Every newbie does it. I still do it on occasion. And I'm going to figure out, my wire needs to come in between here. So I'm going to figure out where I can go in between them and dive to the back. There's a little space that I'm going to try to jiggle into. If I can't jiggle in there, and I may not be able to with this size wire. Let's see. Let's see how jiggling I do. I jiggled it and there it went. You see it? It's passed in the middle and that's perfect. I'm going to get it. So I'm going to get my wire, my plier in there, and I'm going to pull it out. There it is. Now while it's on this side, I'm going to make sure to tie it off somewhere before my beads go on. And I'm just going to get it right here around this leg because it's convenient. This is a small run of bead balls, so I'm not worried about them falling back on themselves. Sometimes you see me trail the wire, clear up the stone, and that's because if I've got a big run of beads, I don't want to tie off lower than the beads because then they can sag. So you run your wire, up to keep the tension up. But right here works out great for this little bit. So I'm tied in. Hello, my cutter. Just snip them off right there. Wrap it back and close. I just left a little extra in case I need to go around again. Okay. Decided to go 3 times. 3 is my per usual habit because I like that number. So I got a nice tie, got my string where I want it, or my wire, and it's convenient, and it's exactly where I want it. I'd say restring them, rewire them. It's not a string. So small one first, that's 2 millimeter. Next one is 3 millimeter, or did I, no, it's 3 mil. What did I do now? 2, 3, and 4, or it's 3, 4, and 5. Either like those 3. I think I went 3, 4, and 5. Because 3, 4, and 5 is a lovely triangle that I love. Okay, so there it is. So pretty. Oh, love it. Now you figure out where the other half of the wire goes. And obviously it can dive right into there and tie out, right? So you don't want to go through that open space because it gives your balls will just dive right through there. I need to actually catch, some frame as I'm coming back. So let me see where I can go. I'm going to catch that little, you see that frame wire right there? I'm I'm going to go right in there to the other side of that frame wire. Make sure you don't kink. Lay them into place. I'll show you where I went. So I'm going to, you see right here where we tied the first one off. Don't go too deep because that first one might sink. My intention was to try to tie this guy all together, but it's not working out that way. So I'm probably going to tie it off with this little bit that I've got and just end this one to this side because that's what's comfortable here with my beads. So I'm going to make sure I've got upward tension on the bead wire because it's the upside of the beads. If I tie off down here, and I've got, say, two, this won't sag, but if I go below, then potentially they can sag. These little three are not going to. So we don't have to worry. Just find a nice clean spot right here, just like we did the other one. So I've got my finger on everything so nothing moves. I'm going to make this through here. Like doing it this way. So if you get frustrated, you can stop and don't lose all your work. That's correctamundo. That's why we do more than one piece here at a time too. Sometimes motivation, it's hard to keep focused on one piece. If you don't know your next move, take a break, right? Don't get frustrated, mangle up what you already love. Just take a break. Put it down. Like Nancy says, you can learn to put it down, come back to it, and then have new inspiration when your hands aren't tired and your mind isn't tired and you feel fresh. Super clean, cute little balls in there. Ooh, it sank a little bit more than I wanted it to. So that's okay. I'll try to get from underneath it and push it up. I did sink it a little bit more than I wanted to. So I'm just using a plier to get underneath it to push it back up. And I might have to actually rewire it. You guys get yours in there for the sake of time. I'm not going to do it today. It's going to bug the poo out of me, though. I'm going to get under here. So I took my plier, I went underneath there, and I just bumped the ball back up. It's because I sank it a little bit too much. Oof, I might have to do more than that. This is what I mean. So you have to figure out how to tie off. I probably did tie off too low, see? Could have probably gone up a little higher. But for the sake of today, that's good enough. So you do yours all cute. You could have actually probably gone one more, right? And now I'll take this, see if it reaches the little tie off I've got here in the front. And if not, I'll just add a wire. It's not going to, and I'm not going to frustrate myself. So I'm going to start to clean it up. Start to cut back my ties. Cut them to the inside and make sure you get a plier and tap them all inside and down, right? So inside and down and under. You got that ridge, remember, that we left ourselves. Let's see. This one, if I can't cut to the inside, then certainly I want to cut and slip, into there. So probably I'm just going to dive into there and get one more wrap. And then I'm going to trim it off way down here rather than break myself on the other side. You won't feel that. It's nice and secure. Little tap, little tap. This one I got 2 wraps on, so just going to take it out right there. Make sure a little tap if you need it. Everything should be nice. And I'm going to get one more wrap on this up here because it's still too loose for me. I might dive another big bead. That's kind of cute. What if we dropped a little purple-eyed gemstone in there? We'd try it. Let's try it before we cut this before we tie this off, let's try it. Get that guy out. So before we cinch all that, I want the space. All right, so let's catch this gemstone. Whew, I gotta fix that wire. It's gonna bug me. So let's catch this little gemstone. I'm gonna use, I think I'm gonna use 22 gauge for that one. Or you can use 20, but I'm gonna use 22 gauge. It's a little slimmer. And I'll get about a foot. So this is like Midway Station, but we don't need to do all of Midway Station to get this little guy. This is a 6 millimeter. This is 6 millimeter amethyst cabochon. So it's not a bead. It's flat on one side and domed on the other. I've got my foot of 22 gauge, and I'm just going to make a little hole in the middle here, big enough to seat this guy on it. Put your finger on top of him. Make sure the flat side stays on that little loop. Ooh, it's tiny work now. Just hold it flat and just work this wire around. You're coiling around the gemstone just like we do in Midway Station. I know you can't see it because it's so tiny, it's under my thumb. Okay, just keep working until you get over the shoulders of this cab. It won't stay there until you get over the shoulders of the cab. We only need it to show just a little tiny bit. So once you get over the shoulder and you feel like the top is pretty good, check the back loop and make sure you're really on that stone. So just very delicate touches. All I did was scooch that wire over. I didn't let go of anything. Got a nice little sandwich on it. Meet these two wires up like this. Get this one going to the back, just like at Midway. You can turn this one straight up. Nice clean wrap right around that. Don't leave it wobbly. Get a nice little tap on it. And now you have an add-on gemstone that you can drop where you need to. I don't need both of these wires unless you want to go on with some curly, design with them. What you need is at least one of them. So it's like a little lollipop drop. And we're going to make it like a pin, right? It's got to go to the back so that the gemstone shows in the front. So you just look through here. See if I can get it to live there. I have another bar back there that I can wrap around. And let's just see the fit. See if I love it and see if it's stable. Get right in there. It's going to live on that weave right there. Make sure it can live flat. I think I'm going to split these. So the reason I didn't tie it on, one is a little wobbly. I might want to get it with two of them. So I'm going to part these and give the other side a wire. Just to maybe see if I can catch. So you see this? There's a frame right there. I'm going to come to one side of it. You just figure out the best way to tie your little guy in there. You could also just drop a bead in there. Yeah, I think it's the perfect place. Thank you, Carolyn. And you just work it in there carefully. Right. trying to do this in the air, in the camera here too. I don't think I got it in there. Yeah, I missed the other one. Rats. Let me get them back together. My plan was not a good plan. Try not to mess your gemstone setting up. Here we go. What I want is for both of them to go straight through there. Through the outside for me, I think is what I'm going to try. Oof. I need to lift this spiral out of my way too. Ooh, there she goes. Okay, get it get it laying in there, and then hold it steady Betty and figure out where you can tie off. These are the two wires right here. So it's got to be a stable situation. It's not going to be stable if I just take these and wrap to the back. It'll flop. So I'm going to have to come around this weave bar, this weave strip here. And that's fine. There's enough room. But now that I know this, I'm just going to cut them both a little shorter so that I can dive through there. Hopefully with all my fingers in the way, you can still see it. You can go one at a time, or you can go two at a time if you think you can catch it. I just went two at a time. It's okay, I crossed one of them. It's okay. Everybody breathe. Okay, I got a 360 around there. Hopefully you could see what I just did. Because wrapping to this bar wasn't going to make that gemstone stable. So you got to get that and then get the tension on it so that it lays down. And that's pretty good there. I could cut these off, tuck them around that bar, you know, or if I want to do a little something curly and whimsical right there, I can come to the front and do that. Let's just see. Let's just see. Maybe I just add a little something just for the sake of not having to cut them. Sometimes that's too much. Just going to tap that, make it tight. Get those turned to the back just as a little something extra right there. Tap, lay it down. Do I love it? I do. It's a little extra curl. So I'm going to come back here and tuck these down. Woo! We really put this one together. It was a big project today, guys. I don't know that we're actually going to get to 3 of them. I thought I was very ambitious at the beginning of the day. I might have to do videos for you for the other 2. You'll still get them. Woo! And I'm just turning these 2 down. I'm going to do a bigger plier on it so that I can tuck them and actually really grip that back. So now I have this little extra something next to my gemstone, and that's so cute. Whoop! That turned out really well, didn't it? And if I still probably need to stitch a little something here for this, right? So let me do that. Woo! Everybody breathe. Thank you. It does look slick. Ooh, I love it too. Sometimes things work out a little better than you plan. Okay. What am I looking for now? I need a little stitch for that spiral and probably a little ball or something up here maybe. So I'm gonna grab um 26. What have I got? Did I use 24? I'm gonna grab 26 gauge, 28 gauge, 26 gauge, 22 gauge, whatever you got. I'm gonna grab 26 gauge. Where's my 26 gauge? Where's my 26 gauge? I say I'm gonna grab 26 gauge if I can find my spool. Okay. It's a little smaller than the one we were just working with. This is a no muss, no fuss single stitch. You can wrap, that if you want to, or you can just do a stitch. So here's a thicker wire. It's 26 gauge, or you can do 22. If you do 28, it's a little bit flimsy for this. So I'm just gonna thread it right through that space. You know what? I will make 2 ties. I changed my mind. I will tie it twice. So here, get all of them together. It'll just be a little more secure. Get a little upturn at the end of your wire. Come through. Get a little stitch. I'm only going to go once because I don't want a big mess up here. I only want 1 or 2. Maybe I'll do 2. But this time, instead of coming back to the front, I'm just going to dive clear to the back. And I'm going to tie it out from back there. So here's the stitch. It's going to hold it all together. I guess I'm going to have to do 3. I guess I'll do 3 because I got this one in front. And I'll dive it back through. You could do 1, you could do 2 wraps, you could do 1. Sometimes I like to just make them real discreet and just do like 1 or 2. That's good. It's a nice clean stitch down. Oh, yeah. And now I can find a place to tie them off back here. It holds that whole panel down. If I felt like I needed to get this big guy, you could have gotten him too, but these are pretty big. They shouldn't go anywhere, but you have to gauge your own, okay? So obviously I'll just stitch to right here. All right, you guys. Woo! I think I'm getting to the end of things. I'm starting to get tired. I got 1 more bead ball to put on here, and then I'm definitely going to have to do the other pendants in video for you because I'm not going to make it. Woo! Let me get these stitched. Where do I want these? Just going to find a nice clean spot. These take a lot of patience, obviously. I want to make sure there's no slack because it's actually doing a job. It's not just being pretty, it's holding my 2 front wires down. So I'm going to make sure I got a nice tight pull. If you need to go around that thing twice, go around that thing twice. I'm not going to go around it twice. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Woohoo! I'm pretty happy with this one. Took my time with it. Kind of glad we didn't do 3. That might have confused us. But I'll do the other 2 for us. If you guys really like this style, it seems like you're loving these strip weaves. So I'll do some more pendant tutorials for us so you'll have several patterns that you can modify by or that you can just follow straight off. Okay, oh my God, that's looking so pretty. And then, you can squirrel. This is 22 gauge. Remember, I could take another one and, tie off, come around the top here, and let's just do it for kicks. 10 seconds. It won't take long. It's 22 gauge round wire. It's my go-to kind of extra curly little firefly wire, just to leave a little tie-on trail. I think I used 20 gauge, but you can do, little things like this just to add security to your frame as well as just for more decoration. This is a thick stone, and I want something more on this side. I don't like that right there. So I'm going to find a place to attach the end of my 22. And I'm going to decide if I want to go up the pendant or if I want to start at the pendant and go down. Probably going to depend on where I can tie off easier. So probably I'll tie off down here. I'm going to pass, I've got a foot of this. I'm going to pass it through my nice big wide opening. I'm going to give myself a couple inches down here to make sure that I've got room to tie off. And I'm going to come up this side. So I've got it held here, just held. Just come up this side. You can always cut it off if you don't like it. Drop a little curly somewhere in here. See if I want anything more. Tiniest little thing. And then you see the whole goal is because I want something in that space. I want a bead ball there. I don't like my crooked wires up there. So let me see what is going to work. Let me grab, I think mine's going to take about a 4mm bead. Let's see, maybe 5, maybe 4. Hopefully nothing that'll set it out of balance. I'd love to see more patterns. These came out amazing. So good. Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad. Okay, good. We'll do more of these. So, do something like this. That one's too big. Wait. Too many. Okay, here we go. Here's the other bucket. I'll just get this one. It's got too big of a hole, but that's okay. I got 2 brands of beads here, and one brand has very large holes. I don't like them so much. So see if that fits. It fits pretty good. So you can't just run it up, right? It'll just jiggle there. So we got to pass through there. But before I do, I'm going to make sure the bead doesn't go anywhere. So I'm going to take a spin around it just for decoration. You don't have to do it this way if you don't want to. I still got plenty of slack. Had to take a break for some coffee. Yeah, no kidding, Cheryl. I need me some coffee too. So I have these 2 that I want a little more together. So while I'm here with my nice bead ball attachment, I will pass through this and make cute decoration up here. So do you see what I just did? I just gave this, I'm not tied at the bottom yet, came up, passed around the ball, took the wire, went through my 2 weaved bales, went a little low, came down, and came back up this way. I like that. It holds my 2 weaves up here together. You can do whatever suits you. So I'm going to take this all the way to the back. Just sink it in between these 2, somewhere where it fits nice. That's pretty good. Still got room for my bale. If I don't, I need to make it go higher or I need to make it go lower. One or the other, but I've got plenty of space, but this is how you would adjust it. If you need, just get your plier in there. If your plier fits, your chain fits. I got a straggly wire going on right there too. Let me get that guy. Okay. So here, make sure you're nice and cinched up. Just gentle pressure, nothing big. Gentle pressure, just to settle the wire. Come back here and tie them off somewhere. Hold the ball because we're not tied into anything yet, so the wire doesn't move. Find a nice spot, probably right here at the bales where I'm going, just for time's sake. Gonna try to feed through here somewhere. Ooh, There it goes. Pull it nice and tight. I'm just going to kill it right in that space right there. You find good places for yours. Remember that you want it to be a place where it doesn't pull back out. Make sure you get a nice deep bend on the end and cinch it into that little tiny spot. Okay, now go back and focus. See, that kind of pulls these. For me, this works out good. I like it. Now I'm going to make sure that this serves purpose. I want some coverage there. And now I'm going to tighten it up at the bottom. Don't tighten it up so much that you lose what you want. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to find a spot back here. All right, you guys. What is it? 12, 12. What I'm going to do now is probably take some questions. This is all messy and thick. I don't have to necessarily go through there. I got this beautiful, wonderful open spot right here. Just holding where the, making sure that I don't get any weird slack. If it doesn't work out, that might not be the spot for it. It's too far of a stretch. So I am just going to go through the little weave that's next to it. Make sure your wire in the front doesn't change, because that's your design. And then just get the tie on right there and tuck out. Woo! Calling it a day, peeps. Woo! Cut it right there. Please remember to strike that like button if you're loving this. And please remember to show your work to me on the Facebook if you make some. Helps me grow. It helps people see that you guys are enjoying yourself. So I just, right there. So now I have this nice little extra something, little extra security, and I love it. If there's something you don't like, you just cut it off. So lay everything down, gentle taps, gentle, making sure that everything is settled, making sure that everything is nice and clean, sand, snip, and then you'll patina this out. And we have a nice place for chain up here at the top. Let me get a chain. You guys can ask me questions until 12:30, so another 15 minutes. And then I'm going to turn this camera off and I'm going to let us all go have some Memorial Day barbecue lunch. Or tomorrow's Memorial Day, but weekend. Woo! We did a lot, guys. Okay, what am I doing now? What am I looking for? Oh, yeah, chain. Okay, that was funsy. That one turned out quite well. A little bit better than I imagined. I wasn't sure what was going to happen in the beginning there. Where is my chain? I have to go to the chain wall over here. Okay, I have a whole chain wall going on. And bada bing, we got 2 spots we can drop. You can go, I don't like that. I'm going to go tall bale right here. Oh, woo, so pretty. Oh, Pamela says, beautiful. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and yourself with us. People like you bring joy. Oh, joy and inspiration I bring. What gauge wire did you use to wrap around that small gap? I used 22 for this one, Linda. Thank you, Pamela. What a beautiful comment. I used 22 for this little one. You can use 20 gauge too, Linda. Just 22 is nice because it's little. It kind of stays beneath, the bigger wire. And then don't forget to do your 360 wrap right there. Make sure it really stays there. All right, you guys, what other questions you got? And if, feel free to exit if you're all done today. I'm just here to clean up and answer questions now. We've got our wrap. And I'll give you some more of these in tutorial videos, since you love them. Okay. Anything else? Woo, congratulations. Woo. Everything feels pretty steady. You know, my stone feels pretty good because of these wraps. New here. What is the Facebook page? Oh, it's Perfectly Twisted Jewelry on Facebook. Perfect. I'll put links in the video descriptions. So I do these live streams and then I usually go back, you guys, and I add the links and stuff. So always check in a couple of days, but it's Perfectly Twisted Jewelry on Facebook. You're welcome. Please drop your pictures there, when you make stuff. And you can continue to add to this if you want to add to it. Boy, this is a big rock. And I like the way that turned out. And let's see, that didn't take too long. I say that didn't take too long. That was only 3 hours. So if you guys missed some of the other ones, I'll just pull these back out. If you're newbie and you haven't seen a couple of these other strip weaves. So this one is Atlas. You have the full tutorial on this one. This one is just a modification. I didn't do a tutorial on this one, but you can see it's a form of Atlas. And then you do also have Mott. This is a tutorial. So these two guys are full-blown tutorials. Shows you different styles. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Nancy. Aw, I'm glad I bring you closer to your self-care. Okay, so these are out there for your patterns as well. And is it Lindsay who asked about this little gemstone here? There's Mott shows this also for this little guy. Okay. Yeah, Linda, in this tutorial will also show the little gemstone, and then you have it for this one too. It's the same lollipop wrap, and I just fed it through and tied it around. Sweet. All right. Anything else you guys want to see while we're sitting here chatting for the last 10 minutes? Woo, my neck is achy. Yesterday, if you missed it, oh yeah, I was going to show you this one. That's okay. I'm going to show you this one in video because there's more to this than I don't want to sloppy Joe that one. I'm going to show it to you in video. So I'll do that. But yesterday we showed you, thanks, Celine. Great. You have a good weekend too, hon. I showed you this prong wrap in yesterday's video. And if you weren't here yesterday, it's for something like this. I'll make a video tutorial of this one too because everybody seemed to love this one so much. And I'll just make it cleaner. This was kind of sloppy Joe. But if you didn't see it, the other thing you can do with these prong settings, it was really for the purpose of helping you to bezel your stones, right? So let me who do I got? I got this one. So let's say, I have a nice round one here. If I didn't want to put a pin on it like that, I could bezel these, with these prongs in here too, right? So I could have made a nice prong strip for the bottom, a little shorter, than this. Bent it up and caught my stone this way too. For the really deep stones, like the one I was just working there, it's twice as thick as this guy. It's probably, way up here. This prong setting would have been great for that. It's a nice deep one. You just bend those over. It gives a nice bezel. But you can also take them all the way around. So this was a favorite setting from yesterday. I wanted to make sure everybody saw it. There's a lot of uses for this, and it's easy. I finally got a prong length done that looks good. Woo! Sweet, Celine. She got one done. And then this is a faceted stone. So it's got a little bit of a bump on the back. I'm going to have to do another layer. This is why I don't, this is good for cabochon if it's flat, right? If you're going to do one of these and it's got a pavilion back here, you might want to do one more row of wire just to raise the stone a little bit or not settle the prongs down so much like I did. Leave them a little more upright, and that way the stone doesn't live so deep in the setting. Because what happens is that, you see, it lists. It doesn't sit flat. It sits on the chest like this. So you either have to take wings out or you have to put another layer underneath there, and then they sit flat. But look how beautiful that is. Beautiful earring, too. What else, you guys? What else you got? Questions? Anybody? Okay, I'm going to start cleaning up. Hugs and kisses. I'll be around if you ask me questions. And, oh, I really like this one. So when you patina this one out, it'll be gorgeous. It's got plenty of space to add some more wire too if you even wanted to go bigger. Ooh, that's so pretty. Okay. And then the prong setting. See, this is a nice flat back. I didn't make this one for this one, so I don't know if it'll fit. I'm eyeballing it. We'll see how she goes. This one's pretty deep, and I didn't need these. We'll see. Let's just see how it goes, because I'm playing now for the last 10 minutes. Oh, love you too, Linda. Thank you, hon. Good to see you here. Have a good weekend. And I'm just seeing if it fits around my little star ruby here. It doesn't fit all the way, but it's kind of fun. It would be so pretty around it. Look at how pretty. So I could just make it a little longer. Thank you, Linda Lou. Big love to you. Or Lindsay. Thank you, Lindsay. My glasses are good for this distance, but it's hard for me to read. Oh, so funny. I'm just playing with this setting, but look how pretty that prong setting is. I needed like 2 more prongs here. And then just bend them up. This is Sloppy Joe. Don't follow what I'm doing. I'll make us tutorials, but I love this prong setting for this. And then you tilt the prongs in and catch it. That's Star Ruby and the prong settings go. I know, right? That's why I know. I'm showing it because I love it too. Thanks, Carolyn. Have a fantastic time with your weekend here. All of you for barbecue. So that's pretty good. See, and I would put another little wire down here to make sure because the Star Ruby is sloped, so it's actually thinner at the bottom and wider at the top. But that's okay. You drop one of these, like I said yesterday, and you just make a little curly backside for it, you know, etc. Not Sloppy Joe like this, but you make a seat. Okay, so let's see. 12:23, we got a couple more minutes. I have some star garnets cut like that. That would be beautiful star garnets in this prong setting. Remember always too that, before doing this, I would have bent these prongs in, right? So you don't put them in here upright. You have to bend these tips in because once your stone's in there, you don't have space. So, once you decide what you're using it for, you come in here and bend these tips down. Just the top 1 millimeter or so. Just get them turned down. I'm just playing Sloppy Joe stuff now. Thanks, Lindsay Lou. I'm going to turn off the camera soon. I always just do this in case people have questions. I hang out. So see, we bent all the prongs in. We'll get a tutorial for this because I'm going to make my ruby in this one. And then we get it in there and then it's cinched up nice. So pretty. Yes, we'll do this one. Make a pretty one. We'll do a nice big bail on it. Be gorgeous. Okay. All right, you guys. I'm going to send you loves, hugs, kisses. I'm going to turn off my camera in 10 seconds and I'm going to go get a lunch. Thank you for being here. Love you guys. And I'll see you for the next one. Drop me questions if you have them in the comments. And please punch like buttons and share me everywhere so I can grow. Thanks. Bye. Bye, Bill Green. Bye, everybody. See you later.